Welcome to the Local Marketing Source Weekly Update, brought to you by localmarketingsource.com.
This week's Local Marketing Update is brought to you by Scott Gallagher. Scott is the co-founder of Local Marketing Source and has become the recognized expert in providing online marketing services to local businesses. Follow Scott on Twitter at ScottGallagher5 and on Facebook.com/ScottPGallagher.
Hey, well, good afternoon, everyone. Scott Gallagher here with Local Marketing Source, bringing your weekly local marketing industry update. Now, next week's LMS member call is going to be Wednesday, July 18th, 2014 at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget to listen and subscribe to our weekly podcast on iTunes, as well as subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, next week is going to be a little bit of an interesting week. I am taking off. I'm going out of the country. Some of you do know I've got some family property on an island up there called Manitoulin Island. And what's interesting about that property, my grandfather picked it up in 1942. We've got about 200 acres of land and about half a mile of beach. And the beach is about 100 feet wide, white sandy beach, and it's private. But what's interesting about the place is there's no electricity or running water, no cell phone service. And yes, I do get connected to the internet via solar and wind connectivity to power everything, and of course connect to the internet through satellite. So that the connection, the live streaming connection, is going to be a little bit murky. I don't know if I'll have a chance. Last year I did. I was able to stream video, which is really cool, sitting on a beach streaming that, but nonetheless, just giving you a little bit of a heads up. So this week, we're going to be introducing something called Google My Business. It's a new tool put out by Google for local businesses, and I'm going to decipher some of the confusion between Google Places, Google Plus Local, and now Google My Business, and what this is all about. Really, it's a brand new portal, a new platform for businesses as well. Now, something I've talked about 6 months ago was getting keyword data through analytics, and we've seen over the last 2 years with Google pulling that data. If you can recall, 2 years ago, you'd be able to get reports from Google and see what traffic came to your website with what keywords. And we'd have a whole keyword list and know what traffic drove the best keywords. But now Google has been moving towards the not provided data. In other words, they're telling us only about 20% of the traffic that comes to our website with which keyword, about 20% of the keywords. There's a new tool that's out from Keylime that I'm going to talk about to be able to get that data. And some additional content on Yelp and their discussion and some of the changes that they're making about small businesses that are misleading customers. In other words, getting unsolicited reviews. And finally, the business tip this week is going to have a discussion of establishing authority in your mind, not just on the internet. All right, so a new product from Google called Google My Business. Google My Business is a phrase. It's a brand. It's something you're going to hear a lot about in the coming years and weeks and days. Google My Business is a portal. Google My Business is a platform. Google My Business is an enhancement to Google Places and is Google's next step to becoming a destination place for small businesses on the internet. This is a significant upgrade to Google Places and Google Plus. And if you recall, a few weeks ago, Google Places and Google Plus merged into one database. And Google has been struggling for years in upgrading Places and merging into Google Plus. Google Plus being their social side of it, and Google Places being the business management back end. Now they feel like that they're to the point where they have a solid platform that addresses the needs of small businesses. This has been rolled out worldwide, been rolled out to over 236 different countries. It is available in 65 languages. It's a major update just announced today, July 11th, 2014. The product is fully functional on desktops, Android OS, and Apple's iOS, whether it be tablet or smartphone functionality. The iOS rollout is not completed, and it should roll out in the next few days. The Android, there are new apps available in the Android store, and they're not yet available in the iOS app store, but they need to be approved by Apple. So really, what is this? What is Google My Business? Um, it's really the full consolidation of social and places messaging and communication between customers and the business. It's an updated interface as well for editing all of the Plus pages on Google, and it is now full integration of Google Places and Google Plus for a unified portal with access to other Google tools for the small and medium businesses. Um, so go and check that out, understand and learn its interface and how Google is moving towards and making this much easier and a unified portal, one place where you can do almost everything that you need to do. It's amazing that it's taken this long, but we say that very frequently about these companies. All right, so I'd mentioned about the keyword data of not being provided through Google Analytics. And for a lot of SEOs, you know, I don't like to draw the line for my clients of SEO and local SEO. To me, it's just a matter of effectively ranking, and how Google decides to display the results is Google's decision. But keyword data and keyword research is a step in the process of marketing a local business that is much less relevant than keyword research for, say, an e-commerce or organic website. Keyword data for local businesses are fairly restricted. You can take the service of pretty much any local business that exists, and there's only going to be a small handful of core terms for that local business. And then, of course, we talk about core modifiers and geomods. And a core term, for example, for a chiropractor would be a chiropractor and chiropractic. A core modifier may be pediatric or scoliosis. And a geomod would be your geographical modifier or your geographical location, whether it be a zip code or the physical name of a town or city. Other than that, there's not a heck of a lot for keyword research. When you get into the e-commerce world, there's a variety of different keyword research tools that are out there. And we look at a lot of different factors. I got to the degree before where we were applying something called a KPI to keywords. That would be the key performance indicators. It was a measurement of the percentage. We would look at commercial intent of keywords and derive percentages for specific keywords to understand commercial intent. And we would map keywords to specific pages and encourage certain pages to rank within the SERPs for specific keywords. We'd create a physical map and map out those keywords to all these different pages. That's not a process involved in a local business, because we don't rank websites. We're ranking businesses and we're ranking people. There's a difference between that. So the not provided aspect of not getting that data for keywords is not relevant in my business. It didn't change my process at all. It was not something that I was so concerned about. It was a really big deal in the SEO community that this data is not provided. So this news that's coming out is going to be relevant to a lot of you, but not relevant to me and not relevant to a lot of you. I've got to share it. You know, LMS students, we don't all do the things the same way. There's a gentleman that's in my mastermind group. As a matter of fact, I've got a a podcast with him. I've got a tremendous amount of respect for this man. He's got a fantastic business. He's a good businessman. And his SEO, local SEO process is different than mine. He even happens to be a former student of Local Marketing Source. I'll go out on the record and say that his strategies are somewhat gray hat, perhaps even black hat, and that's fine. I learned certain aspects to him, but the way that we do SEO is very different than the way he does. He's very methodical and utilizes a much more scientific approach. As you know, at Local Marketing Source, we like to consider ourselves more artists in understanding how to create content and put it out. At the end of the day, it's easier to systematize science than it is to systematize art. Following the artistic approach, if we put it into that realm, is a much more difficult approach. However, I believe that approach is better for the long-term sustainability of the business. In addition to that, you are not constantly chasing the algorithm and trying to uncover new means. I had an LMS student that posted something recently and said, I don't want to watch videos from 2011. I said, well, okay. We have this general notion right now that if it was not published in the last 12 months, it's probably not something we should be reading or really want to read. You think about us as a human culture, and just think of all the different television shows that have been created and gone through. And now that we have streaming media and ability, we still wait for television shows week upon week, waiting for that next episode to come out. When there could be a multitude of series that we enjoy. The point being is we have this general perception that when it's new, it's better, and that's not. I mean, the whole premise of the marketing concepts that we try to apply at Local Marketing Source are not new at all. There's really nothing new about what we do. As a matter of fact, my education and my understanding of marketing is pulling off of rules and lessons that go back even hundreds of years. You'll hear me quote Sun Tzu in The Art of War. This is a document that was written by a general at war that managed his troops, and he won wars based off of certain philosophies. Well, it's a very prominent business book now, that the way we run business and the way we look at business essentially was following certain principles. Well, these principles are off of relationships, and relationships exist absolutely everywhere, from our personal intimate relationships to friendships and relationships with family, our working relationships, different business relationships. Businesses build relationships. Well, there's certain things that are really fundamental about relationships that don't change. I don't care if it's 2011 or 1975 or 2025. Human beings only evolve at a certain rate, and we really have not evolved much in terms of how we feel about certain relationships over the last couple hundreds of years. Maybe over the last 10,000 years, there has been true, genuine, inbred evolvement. So the content that we have at Local Marketing Source, yes, there's certain content we've got to update. As a matter of fact, you're going to hear an announcement for a webinar that's going to be scheduled in a week and a half, discussing Google Plus Local, and Google Places, and Google My Business, and some of the changes and updates. And those are merely tools. And so I get that in the internet marketing world that changes very, very quickly. There are a lot of tools that change. I still have content in the portal that discusses a tool called Web CEO. Well, that's not a tool that we utilize anymore. So there's no question that that's content that needs to be updated. And that's content that is consistently updated. But when we've got content that was created in 2011 and we haven't updated the copyright date on it, that's because we strongly feel like that content is still highly relevant, and it's going to continue to be highly relevant regardless. All SEO is, whether it's local SEO or regular SEO, the big secret is one word, and it's just marketing. And marketing is just creating content that has value for customers, or clients, prospects, and society, and distributing that content into areas that that audience resides. So that's simple. That's really all that SEO is. You don't need to spend money on a course or do hours of research on the internet to learn. Everything that we do comes from there. So back to this tool, a company called Keylime, as well as Moz on Analytics, now has a tool. If I had mentioned, or remember I mentioned to you before, the statistic was 80% of keywords. That's actually a few months old. With this report and this discussion that I'm reading, the non-provided data for keywords is between 85 and 97% now. This tool will bring it down to 60 or 47 to 60%. The way it works essentially is it's a former employee of Google that started this company a couple of years ago, and they pull all the data from Google Analytics and re-engineer and rerun the algorithms on that data to speculate what some additional data is. In other words, Google's giving a lot of data, and based off of what exists, they could run their computer stuff to figure out some additional information. Finally, Yelp put a post and discussion on their blog about businesses misleading consumers. In other words, fictitiously putting up reviews. And this is obviously a major problem for any business that leaves reviews. We know through the studies that we've been reading that reviews, and of course intuitively this is obvious, but with hard data it just supports our hypothesis that reviews are a major impact in conversion. In other words, an audience that sees a business profile, a review or customer testimonial is going to influence a customer's decision to do business or not with a particular company. So the reviews have a big impact, and when something's got a big impact, it's obviously also got a propensity to be manipulated, an opportunity for a business owner to influence their profit in their pocket by just putting up some fake reviews. And it's very enticing to do so, and it seems to be very easy. And on the surface, it seems easy to get away with it. And so we've seen these filters come into place, and the algorithm for the filters has changed over time. One thing that we've predicated a lot is build authority and identify profiles that have authority. And those are the reviews that are going to show up near the top. And Yelp has come out publicly and says, we're really going to hurt companies that we catch red-handed. One simple way, about a year ago, we speculated that the IP address was built in. Even though reviews are being left on multiple accounts, we speculated the IP address was a factor. We saw a particular client that had installed a POR system, point of review system, in their office, and were asking their patients to leave reviews under their own accounts utilizing the office computer. Well, their rankings dropped. We immediately changed that process and started to get reviews elsewhere again, and not have reviews left at the office, and their rankings bounced back real quickly. Also, they lost a whole bunch of reviews. All the reviews that were left at their office are gone, completely filtered out. And this is just a discussion that Yelp has publicly come out and said this, and this is something that we've speculated for some time. So there's confirmation that Yelp is on that IP bandwagon. Whether Google's on it or not, we don't know for sure, but it's pretty obvious with the evidence we see that they are. All right, and then finally, the business tip for this week. When I discuss establish authority in your mind, well, I was just talking about profile authority, and we've talked about authorship authority, and we talk about establishing authoritative links or authoritative exposure and citations that have authority, and all the tools out there measure website authority, and authority is just this big misunderstood word that's out there. Well, in philosophy, I believe that you want something or you want to become something, you act as if. And improving your life is a mindset. I recognize the areas of my life that I'm not happy about really are my responsibility at the end of the day. I've put myself everywhere. Every problem that I have, I've one way or another been involved in its creation. And just like, you're the average of your 5 closest friends, and, you hang around with people that you want to be like, or you should make that effort. Mindset is critical. And when we act as if, I could recall one day that I just started calling myself an internet marketing guru. Well, I was self-centered, and I sounded and I came across egotistical to people. But the fact of the matter is I acted as the authority. And I wrote about it in a commanding tone, and I talked about it with people as if I knew what I was talking about, with confidence. And individuals started to look at me as the authority and started to ask my questions. And I got a little bit more daring, and I came out, and rather than regurgitating information that I'd already learned, I started to come up with my own hypotheses and my own theories and started writing and testing. And turns out that a lot of those theories had ultimately come true. I really had built my confidence, and that's what made me an authority. Now, when I create particular authoritative content and I speak in a commanding voice on my blog or videos or anything that's out there, I'm gonna naturally create a following, and naturally that following, a certain percentages of those people are gonna like my content and share my content. And I believe that the more commanding voice we speak in with the content that we create, the more propensity we have to share and ultimately create. If you remember on some of the LMS content, we talked about creating tribes. Well, you're essentially creating your tribe, which is your prospective audiences. You're going to be your peeps or your fans, and however you want to term it. So for a local business to establish authority, whether you're a plumber or an electrician or a chiropractor, we've talked about branding and specifically clarifying your brand. If you're a chiropractor, you're not just a chiropractor. Either A, you're going to be a pain management chiropractor, or you're going to be a wellness chiropractor, or B, you're going to get even more specialized and deal with specific children, or even further deal with children with specific ailments, such as sports medicine or concussions. And that's what differentiates you, and that's what's going to bring and attract the clientele, specifically looking for these certain ailments. Well, with that, you create content and you become the authority in your particular geographical area. You're the best electrician that's out there. You're the best electrician because of A, B, and C. Maybe because of your experience, maybe because of the tools, maybe because of your education, maybe because of the types of work that you work on. There's a lot of different ways that you can establish authority. And embedding that into your mindset and thinking that every single day, I am the best in this area for this and this. I am the best. Whether you are or aren't, who cares? With your mindset, you are going to become the best. You will eventually be there. With that mindset, everything else trickles down. All your marketing content is effectively going to be positioned around that mindset, around the aspects that you're an authority. Your marketing content that speaks in authoritative, commanding voice is the content that is going to create your tribes. It's going to create the sharing and create the exposure that you're looking for. So establish authority in your mindset. All right, this is the conclusion of our weekly update. I'm just going to now take 30 seconds and I will come back and answer any LMS questions that you guys may have that are on the line.
Well, thanks for watching the Local Marketing Industry Update. We've got these things coming out every single week, so if you liked with what you heard, just click the button right above me right here to subscribe to our channel. If you'd like to get a little bit more, right over here, go check out localmarketingsource.com. We've got free reports that you can grab. You can even register for a free marketing course to get in and see the portal. Or just go ahead and follow us on some of the social channels. We'll be around. Until next time.